What is your opinion on the global economy, considering everything that is going on around the world?
I would say that it's all started with COVID-19, when all economies had to shut down in order to protect the populations. So, and when it was time to reopen them, as we all know, it's not a switch back with immediate effect. So those economies had to take some time to pick up. And right in the middle of the process came the war between Russia and Ukraine, which is the source of a major crisis all over the world now. More importantly, in the sectors of energy and agriculture. So the combination of the COVID-19 and the war in Ukraine constitute a massive blow to the global economy. And a such thing definitely could lead us to something bigger than the Great Depression of the 1930s. Because honestly, if the market crash of like almost 100 years ago had led the world into the Great Depression, what will be the magnitude of the situation now, considering that its origin is of the combination of the war in Ukraine and the global pandemic? What will be the damages this time? What should we expect? I think those are the questions that country leaders, like, finance ministers, central bank governors, and the global institutions should ask themselves too, like the World Bank, the European Union, and they're also the United Nations. They should ask themselves those questions, and by asking themselves those questions, they can definitely understand what is going on, what might happen, and also to be proactive in anything that they will have to do. Because if they don't ask themselves those questions, and if they don't develop like proper strategies and on a timely matters, I think that the world might be on the way to something definitely more significant than the Great Depression of the 1930s. That is my opinion on the global economy as of now, when I'm seeing what is going on all over the world.
In this case, what solution do you suggest?
I must admit that is not just easy. Any solution to the current crisis will demand a lot of efforts and heavy decisions. And those decisions will come from the world leaders, the key players of the world, like the global institutions. And in the meantime, what we can do, we can try to identify all possible scenarios. And once we identify them, we can try to find a solution for each of them. This will help us to be proactive. And any of the scenario which can come up, we will already have ready decisions to tackle the issues. And when I'm talking about heavy decisions, I believe all the decisions will be based on diplomacy, because this is the piece that holds together the global economy. This is the entry door to global trade. And if there's any problem in the aspects of global economy, we definitely have to use diplomacy for all players of the world involved in the situation to sit together, to analyze the impacts, and definitely come up with decisions that will benefit the world globally. And the last piece of the puzzle, which is the most important thing that we will have to do, once we find the solution to the current crisis, we definitely have to develop the global economic architecture. We've been talking about all kinds of architecture, but now the reality that we are facing put us in a situation to understand how important it is to develop the global economic architecture. This will help us to prevent anything to happen again to the global economy. This will prevent us to not be in a place where we have to suffer a second Great Depression or worse in the future.